If you feel like you were brainwashed from evangelicalism, it's probably because of two hidden values. Hi, I'm Jeremy. I'm a deep skeptic, also a pastor. I say they're hidden, but in some cases they aren't even actively hidden. People just aren't aware of them, and that's actually part of the problem. And that's the first one. The first one is that the evangelical movement has this deep history of like an anti-intellectual bias, right? They don't want academic rigor. They distrust the institution of the academy, and even as they developed their own graduate schools and all this kind of stuff, there was this pushback against like this sort of intellectualism, academic rigor, those kind of things, especially when it comes to the sacred text of the Bible. And so what is interesting is that they will value an individual's idea of the Bible, and if you come with data or academic consensus, they will reject it, not because they have more data or better data. They will reject it because it's not valued, because they don't care about whether or not somebody has a PhD in Hebrew if their pastor said that the Hebrew word meant this, because they do not value the academic the institution of the academy. And that's a huge deal, because what it means is that there isn't the kind of accountability that comes from academics who say, actually, you're wrong, that didn't happen. We have data, we have archaeology, we have whatever it is, and we can explain what that actually meant. There isn't that accountability, and so that's part of what causes the brainwashing, because it is just the person that is in charge of your church or your teacher or whatever that has the authority to tell you what the Bible says. And when they do it, they lean into the second big assumption that is kind of hidden. And that is, there is an assumption of biblical literalism in all of the places. And they often don't say, well, you need to take this more literally. They say things like, well, that's what the Bible says, so I believe it, right? And that kind of statement assumes that everybody agrees that the Bible should be taken literally. And that is definitely not something that there is any agreement on in the religious academy or in Christianity in general. But they act as if that is the only orthodox right belief that there can be, that if the Bible says XYZ, that's just what it is, that settles it. It doesn't settle it, because the Bible was written to a culture that doesn't exist anymore, right? Thousands of years ago, in a different part of the world, all kinds of things, and so it doesn't settle it. The Bible is not that kind of a text. And so you combine those two together and it gets really bad. Because you have this simplistic reading of an ancient spiritual text that is oftentimes refuted by the religious academic community, but you can't hold it accountable because we don't trust academics. We don't trust people with PhDs. We trust our pastor. We trust what the Bible literally says. And when you are in that kind of a system, there is a lack of ability for you to challenge and push back and think for yourself. And so what happens is you just accept the teaching, the beliefs that are being given to you, because you don't have a lifeline. You don't have a way to say, actually, I think that might be wrong. And that's why you go for a long time believing all kinds of things, acting in all kinds of ways, and then you get to this moment of like, wait a second, I don't know that I like the person that I've become in this religion. And you begin this path of deconstruction, and it feels like you were brainwashed, because you kind of were, in a sense. But the good news is you can get out of it, you can come through it, and you can find beliefs that work for you. That's actually what I try to do here, is help people find beliefs that work for them, beliefs that help them become the best version of themselves and help them find a purpose greater than themselves. And if you ever want to process some of that, just DM me. I answer all of those.